So that could mean that Shador past 6, which means he could get to the Saints at wherever. He could even get to fucking Dallas.
Yeah.
Which then that leads to the conversation of, is Dion going to go back to Dallas and coach? Even though he just became the highest, like top 10 highest paid coaches in college.
Why would anybody who has other options want to work for Jerry Jones?
Because Deion Sanders has a good relationship with him from when he played for him.
Agreed, I know he does, but it's one thing to be friends with him or be sociable with him. It's another thing to voluntarily want to work for him.
You cut out.
People, I'm not saying you're wrong, but people have things for money.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could happen.
Did I cut out again, Alex?
A little bit, but we got the gist. Well, I'm gonna treat that as a cold open. Welcome everybody back to another episode of 2 for cross-checking. We've got 3 again today. We might have 4 at some point in the future. I don't know if it's happening anymore. I'm hoping so. My name is Alex, alongside Andrew and Sully. I like that it keeps putting them like this. Discord is not always going to do that. One of these days, Sully's going to be over here and Andrew's going to be down there, and it's going to be weird for everybody. So yeah, welcome back. Let's just keep it rolling here. What you guys talk about football?
Oh yeah, yeah. So just there's talk that now Shador Sanders may fall past the Browns and Giants, that they might actually not be taking a quarterback at 2 and 3, and with Las Vegas just signing Geno to an extension, now looks like Shador Sanders could fall past 6, maybe further down. As the process has gone on, it seems that people are falling out of love with Shador.
Okay, here's my question about that. With the Joe Milton trade today, you texted me and you said, Joe Milton in a 7th for a 5th, why would the Browns not pay that?
I did.
To which I was going to respond, and I never got back to you about it. I was going to say, that tells me they're picking a quarterback in the draft. If they're not going to trade for one right now, it tells me they're going to pick a quarterback. But I know Tennessee is falling more and more in love with Cam Ward at 1. I'm wondering.
I would if they're going to take a quarterback. I don't see them taking a quarterback at 2.
Okay.
Agreed.
That's right. You've been high on Jackson Dart this whole time. I know.
So they have pick 33. They can trade back up into the first, jump the Steelers at 21 or 22, and take Jackson Dart if he's there. We have Greg Newsome, who's an expiring contract, $13 million cap hit, but if we trade him, it's like $2 million. Save us a bunch of money for this coming season. Give us money to sign back Nick Chubb to train whatever running back we get. There's potential to trade back up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter and trade back up for a Jackson Dart. And if a trade doesn't materialize, I'm kind of high on Quinn Ewers. I like his upside. He played injured a lot last year. His arm talent's out of this world, basically. It's not elite, but it's up there. And Will Howard just went 65 of 67 at his pro day, and the 2 misses were drops. So I am not stressed about them taking a quarterback in the first round. I would actually be of the camp that they don't. There's another guy named Tyler Shuck, spelled Shough. How that's Shuck, I don't know. Yes, yep. But he is like 24, 25. A little older. Has dealt with some injuries. Ran really well at his pro day, and people are loving his arm. So, day 2 quarterbacks or late round 1 trade back up. There's a possibility, but I think the Browns have fallen in love with either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter at 2.
All right.
I also wouldn't be surprised if there's a trade down.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I don't think really any of the quarterbacks are worth pick 1 or 2 this year, but So yeah, I'd much rather take an elite player, and then you still got plenty of options early round 2 or late round 1.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. I mean, the Browns could brown it up, and from what has been said, Jimmy has we can took complete responsibility for the Deshaun Watson deal.
I saw that.
To me, that kind of says that they're taking a step back and they're letting Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski pick their quarterback here.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful with that news. Shador could be the guy, but also I feel like it feels like Kirk Cousins is going to become a Brown somehow, some way. I don't know how, but it kind of feels that way. I would venture to guess like a Quinn Ewers would fit his system pretty well, fit Stefanski's system pretty well. I would also venture to guess, and people forget Jalen Milroe just ran a 4.37, a 4.37 as a quarterback at his pro day. He's rough around the edges, but man, his best season was with our now offensive coordinator at Alabama. So Jalen Milroe could be a second round option, or trade up into like a pick with the Eagles, who we've had trade history with, and trade up one pick for Jalen Milroe and get 5 years out of him, and just say, hey, here's the deal. Now, do I think he fits Stefanski's system? No, but I think it's a possibility still.
Agreed. It's definitely worth taking a chance just with that upside and have him sit behind Kirk Cousins or
God forbid, Kenny Pickett.
whoever. Yeah, I mean, you don't want anyone to sit behind Kenny Pickett for too long, but
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I watch football. I don't follow it like the way that you guys do. So, at least not with the prospects and stuff. I follow my team, and that's about it. I don't really.
So do you
that's
want
a healthy way to do it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're not healthy. Do you want my my scouting report for all the draftable players for the fantasy league, so you know who to pick?
Maybe we'll save that. Let's shelve that. Let's stick a pin in it, and we'll come back to that around. Let's do that after the draft, when
Okay.
a lot
My
of
leagues are too
fantasies.
competitive. I'm not giving those fuckers any help. No.
We just won't tell
That
them
could
about
be
this
a good
after
topic,
that.
though, for us to talk about after the draft and around the time that fantasy leagues are going to be going on. So, with that, let's get into the meat of our episode here, and we'll. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good cold open. You guys didn't even know it was happening, so um, I think we're pretty good to go. Do you still want to do the question?
We can do that now. We can wait for that.
We could also save it for next week if we wanted to.
Either way.
Let's save that for next week because I feel like we're already kind of in it.
Yep.
Um, so there's a little teaser for you. That's what we call a tease here in the business. Um, so let's really get into the meat of it then. We gotta talk about it. Torpedo bats. What the fuck?
You know, when I first no
You
way
cut
that
out. Hang on.
this nope. All right. When I first said there's no way that this is gonna be allowed. Then you start looking at them. You start reading up on them. Start reading the rules. They fit the rules.
They do.
And then you look at it. MLB has been all about one. What? That's like 5 years. Quickness, efficiency, and offense.
Yeah.
Excitement. These bring excitement.
They do. They absolutely do. Now, I do want to talk. My big question about it: how much of it's the bats? How much of it is the Yankees? Because the Yankees are an offensive powerhouse. The Brewers struggled in that series, and they struggled in their first game against the Royals, letting in another 11 runs that day against the Royals, who is not an offensive powerhouse. In fact, they scored 2 more runs the rest of that series. So, how much of it was the Brewers having a really bad opening series? How much of it is the Yankees just being, again, this incredibly offensive powerhouse team? And how much of it is the bats? I do think the bats play a role. I don't know if the bats are the reason the Yankees scored what was it, 36 runs in that series? Or was
I
it
mean,
more?
in fairness,
Or was
They
that just
scored
2
20 in
games?
one game. They
Yeah, they
scored
scored
20 in
20 in
one
one
game.
game. And they had 9 home runs in that game. Yes, I think the bats absolutely played a factor in that. I think the bats probably give some extra distance to a hit. A fly out previously would have been a home run. And also, they were playing in a Little League baseball stadium. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say the park has a lot to do with it, and you're right. The way that basically they're moving the beat of the bat, moving it down. You and me were talking about it during the week. They're not moving the sweet spot. The sweet spot's just getting a little bit bigger, but also a little bit smaller.
it gets bigger this way,
Yeah,
but smaller this way. So,
yeah.
because basically, from what I understand about it, it's like they looked at the swings of certain players and where they oftentimes will hit the ball off the bat, and they moved the sweet spot of the bat to where they typically hit.
Yeah,
In a way, like,
They
yeah,
didn't
they
move.
mostly
Go
just.
ahead.
hang on, you're cutting out real bad, Andrew, and skipping around.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
better now.
that's.
Better now. Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
All right. So
I'll
we
just
technically give it this.
yeah.
What moved a little bit of the weight from like the regular sweet spot. They moved it down a little bit, so he just got a little bit more pop out of his bat when he hit that area. And again, in that stadium, especially going to right field, I mean, pop out in any other stadium is a home run in that stadium.
Yes.
So, I I think while you have a valid point, it could be a little bit of both Brewers and Yankees. Um, it's the start of the season. If this was like a month into the season, I would be more agreeing to it being the Yankees. But hitters were to start up them pitchers. They're always a little bit behind. Typically, you don't see this kind of offensive firepower early in the season. Well, yes, it's still the Yankees and the Brewers. I think the bats have something to do with it.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with you there. I will say, yes, pitchers typically ahead of batters at this point in the season. Have you seen the injured list for the Brewers right now?
I have not. No.
They have 8 pitchers on it, or 5 or
That,
6, or they have a lot of pitchers on it. I don't know the exact number, but they have a lot of pitchers on it because
let
they
me look
played
it
the
up right now.
Royals immediately after. So I got pretty familiar with the Brewers over the last few days. And yeah, they had, I think it might have been 5 or 6 um, on the IL. So I'm wondering if it's also just partially the fact that their bullpen wasn't as strong.
It's starters too, apparently,
and
because
and starters, yeah.
DL Hall is a starter, Aaron Ashby is a starter, Brandon Woodruff's a starter, and Savali's a starter. They have 4 starters on the IL.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they had their number one guy who started opening day, which notice nobody heard anything about Torpedo Bats after opening day. They heard about it day 2. So I'm thinking it might be the Brewers partially there, having to go to basically their 6th starter, and then probably went to the bullpen pretty early. In fact, they did because their starter only pitched what Nestor Cortez pitched what 2 innings.
Not even. I think he pitched like an inning and a third or 2/3. Like he. Also, the Yankees are familiar with Nestor Cortez. He came from New York,
Yeah.
so I'm sure.
So
I'm sure.
and when you're familiar with a pitcher and you can barrel the ball, the whole point of these bats is when you barrel the ball, it goes further. So,
It's
yes, I think it's the bats. I think it is more so the Yankees and the Brewers. I think the Brewers had an abysmal series, and I think the Yankees took advantage of them.
Yeah, I do want to. Something you said. You said it when you barrel a ball, it makes it go further. I think the purpose of it is to actually make it easier to barrel the ball. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's, oh, when you barrel it goes farther. I think it's, oh, it's easier. You have a bigger area to barrel the ball. It may not be like the 450 or 460 yard or foot home run, but it'll get out of the ballpark and give you a little bit extra pop. I think it kind of spreads out your, kind of think of it like you have like your hot zones. It spreads out your lukewarm zone, and it kind of shrinks your like red hot zone. In my opinion, I think that's what it does. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, but that's what I took from hearing everybody talk about it.
Okay. Looking at this article from ESPN that is all about the torpedo bats, what are they, how are they legal, all this stuff, it does look like they are just moving the sweet spot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It just
Like they are fully moving it. It does not look like it is changing size. But it literally, like, it shows like the standard sweet spot, and it's like this big, 5 to 7 inches from the end cap, and then the torpedo bat moves it over, and now their sweet spot is 11 to 14 inches from the end cap. So
Okay.
I do think it is just moving it. So I do believe that is what you just said is more correct than what I said, where it makes it easier to barrel the bat because they're moving your sweet spot to the point where you make contact the most often.
Right.
Yeah, the anecdote in the article I read is that Anthony Volpe is pretty much every ball he hit straight on the label of the bat, and so that was part of the impetus. Is like, okay, well, let's just make the sweet spot of his bat the label. There you go.
Which is pretty much what you were just saying, right, Tolly?
Yeah. I'll be interested in what they can do going forward, like if they're facing like a certain pitcher who, like a lefty who throws a cutter or a two-seamer.
Yeah.
And like if a ball is going to be coming in on you and you know you're probably going to get it in on your hands, if you can move the sweet spot down there knowing you're going to,
Absolutely.
like,
Yep.
that's where this is going to get really interesting to see
It
how
definitely,
deep they go.
yeah, it adds a little wrinkle into offenses, and now
Yeah.
more of what we think of these. I do think it's really cool. I think there hasn't been a big like change in offensive technology in a long time. Like, yeah, there's Sully, you were mentioning the other day, like there was the axe handle, there was the bigger knobs, but that's not this. This is
No.
this is actually adding distance on a batted ball, whereas I think those were more comfort and I don't know. To me, I never really thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. I don't think the axe handles really did anything for you other than making it a little bit more comfortable, right?
So it made it easier to like get your hands in and really make it look,
Okay.
you weren't rolling over on it as much. You're
Okay.
able to actually go
Um,
through.
that makes so it's to put it into terms that you and I know quite well. It's more like a brace in bowling,
Yes.
where
Yeah.
it keeps you from doing things wrong.
Yeah. It really helps you. It really helps you to stop rolling over on the ball
Okay.
and getting those ground balls. I used one in college. Loved it. Like crushed the ball with it, and I was like, okay, so this is what I need to do. And yeah, Stephen Kwan has like the big knob. A couple other people do. That is basically they like having a little bit more weight down there because it evens out their swing. It really helps them keep their swing a little bit evener instead of getting too high or too low of an angle. And that's way out of my realm of knowledge. That's just
feels-
basically what I've heard.
Does the knob actually like extend up the handle?
It doesn't really extend up the hand.
Okay.
Actually, they take weight out of the ball.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I was wondering if that was more of a, like, you could use a heavier bat, and it's basically like you use a heavier bat, but you choke up, right? And I was wondering if it was like, oh, if I use a heavier bat, maybe and I don't know, does using a heavier bat make the ball go further either? Like, I don't know.
No, because that was the famous Ted Williams was the one who was like, it's bat speed, not weight of the bat, that makes the ball go further. And that was like the late 30s, early 40s, and this is kind of the first sort of physics-based improvement since then, really?
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the only ones. So basically, this is the biggest technological advance in the offensive side of baseball in a very long time. There have been
Oh, yeah.
things that have been to help you do things better, but this is actually adding distance on a ball.
I don't think it's so much about.
It's adding distance based on where you typically hit it.
I think it adds exit velo. I think that's the
Okay.
point of it. Adding exit velo, it does add distance, but I don't think its sole purpose was, hey, we want to add this. We want to add exit velo. We want you to hit this ball a little bit harder, and like what maybe be a pop fly before, now it's a line drive base hit.
Yeah.
I think it was more about that, but it's kind of turned into, hey, if you get it in the air, it could go. My interest is if we do this and we see pitching numbers just be absolutely trapped by the end of this year, do they cut back on all the restrictions on pitchers about spider tack and all that stuff and like checking them after every inning? Like, do they cut back and let it kind of slide a little bit again to make it a little more even?
I
Or do
think
they
they
just hold the pitcher
maybe,
better?
and I don't know how the rules meetings have gone this year. I know it was a big point of emphasis. The sticky stuff was a big point of emphasis in the last couple years. I don't know if it is still a point of emphasis this year. Maybe they just take it out of the point of emphasis and it becomes a challenge it type thing. Like a coach can be like, "Hey, I think he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing." Or you put a limit on it maybe. I don't think they fully get rid of that rule because I don't see them rolling that rule back so quickly after changing it, after adding
I
that
put
rule.
I personally just don't see them really doing anything to take away from offense when
Exactly.
If I may, it might kind of put the kibosh on the robot strike zone because I know the pitchers have been against that. So that might be the concession: is all right. The batters can keep the torpedo bats, and the pitchers can keep the human umps, and that might be the compromise there.
yeah, I mean, so the first however many games I've watched the Guardians, there's been so many bad calls that like I see the calls and I'm just like that's not a strike. Like there's
Yeah.
no way in the world that that's a strike. And I know
It
in
was like, I mean, going back to our game, the Royals and the Guardians, it was like one of the first batters got struck out, and it was like he immediately like turned to look at the ump and do this, and it's like, wait, can't do that. That was last week. I can't do that this week.
yeah,
But that's also the. Go ahead.
so my thing about that was is they're like, oh, you get two, and I'm like, man, as much as you guys screw up, we only get two. I saw that one 30 some
I lost you after 30 some calls.
in one game.
Yeah. Was that the
Like,
was that the one against us that we won?
no, I don't think so. I don't even think it was our series. But like there
Because
was
I saw the umpire scorecard for that game, and it was abysmal. It was terrible.
it might have been then. It might have been
It
all I know is it was bad. And again, it's unless you get the robot umpires, there's no way to change it. But like I know they want to keep up pace of play. And again, what you said makes sense. Like, hey, if they keep this,
yeah.
you don't get the robotic strike zone because we really
Well,
need all the
because
help we can get.
well, and the pitchers like the strategy of it. Like if the ump's given the outside corner that day, it changes how everybody reacts, and it's another layer to the strategy and psychology of a game. Which
I got 6 strikeouts in 2 innings because an umpire was calling my curveball outside, and it was a foot outside. Throwing the 6 strikes on and 2 innings on it.
yeah,
As
I was
a
like,
as a newly minted umpire, fuck the robots.
there you go.
2 weeks ago, I was all on board with the
hey, wait
robot
a second,
umps.
hold on a second. You haven't umped a game yet.
No,
You're
but
not
I
newly
am
minted yet.
certified. I am certified though.
Just because you're certified doesn't mean you've done shit yet. Once you umpire a game, then you can be newly minted.
I am a
You gotta
minted
be
umpire. I have the certifications. I'm
hasn't
newly
been battle
minted.
tested,
I'm
though.
very, very green. I have yet to umpire a game. They both got canceled this week because the weather in Ohio is terrible right now.
Yeah.
Um,
How glad were you that yesterday's got canceled and your first game wasn't going to be behind the dish?
I wasn't. I was looking forward to the game. I like
Fair.
I was nervous when I woke up, but like I've been looking forward to it, and now I don't get to behind the plate for 2 weeks. Or it's next Saturday is my first game behind the plate.
I still think I might have to go to that game just to tell you how bad I think you did, or how
Just
good
wait
you I think
until
you did.
after the game to tell me how bad I did. Don't.
No, 100%. I'm not gonna be a person in the stands yelling at you. Come on now.
All right. Consensus on the torpedo bat.
I like it.
I like
Alright.
it too. It's fun. Yeah.
I like it until I don't like it, and I will let you know when that happens.
When it's
When it
used
comes
against
to
the Royals.
Yeah.
that's Yep.
Yeah, when do we play the Yankees?
Yeah.
They should
I mean,
ban it that weekend.
Yankees. It's not just the Yankees. Like every team has
Nope.
ordered them.
Yep. Ellie
I'm
De La
waiting.
Cruz.
He had a big night. Of
Yeah,
course, the
he
next night he only had a double.
Yeah, he had 2 home runs with it the first night he used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even even Francona came out and said it's not the bat, it's the player. Like,
Again, I don't think it's the bat making them so much better. I think it makes it a little bit easier for them.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will die on this hill. Batting in an MLB game is the hardest thing to ever do in any professional sport. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
the most terrifying and
Yeah.
horrible thing to do.
I
So
think
whatever
the
gives
only
them an edge-
people that would argue against that are people that have not seen a fastball in real life.
They said 97, 100 mile an hour, Paulsine splinker, and
Yeah.
and then a slider, and then tell me it's not terrifying.
Yeah,
I agree. I will only add this. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just going to throw out that what gymnasts do is also terrifying. I went to a meet a couple years ago. It was like everything they were doing, like parallel bars, dead.
Yeah. The only thing about that is
So dead. I'd be so dead so fast. Like half a backflip, snap my neck, just so dead so fast if I tried any of that.
The thing about gymnastics, though, is it's the same every time you do it. The bars are going to be in the same place every time you do it. That ball's not coming in at the same place every time. In fact,
No, it looks like it does. It looks like it does. Pitchers are learning how to tunnel their pitches,
Yeah.
and when a pitcher can tunnel their pitches and their two-seam fastball that goes like this on you, and their slider that goes like this on you, the exact same coming out of your hands, you're fucked.
Yep.
As somebody who's faced.
all right, let's move on away from the torpedo bats. Then let's jump into the NHL for a little bit, and we'll round it out with some more MLB talk. Alexander Ovechkin,
Okay.
3 goals. He only needs 3. He got another one last night from his office on the power play against the Carolina Hurricanes. They would end up losing that game 5-1, much to Andrew's delight here. But we were watching that game, Sully and I were, and they went on the power play, and I said, "Oh, watch out for Ovechkin here."
And then
And
he
then he
said
scored.
he's probably gonna sit right
Yep.
here. And
I pointed it out because Sully here is he doesn't really know Ovechkin's office like the rest of us do, and I said he's gonna sit right around there on this power play, and he's gonna look for a one-timer, and he looked for it, and he found it, and it was a beauty. 3 more goals for him.
how many games left?
Let me get the exact number. 7.
He's
He's got it.
Yeah, that's right.
I have to, unless something disastrous happens.
Yeah.
In the next couple games, he's got it. He's got it if they put him out, if they put him in game 82 and just have him cherry picking from the blue line. He's got it.
Listen, 100. I fully believe they've already made the playoffs, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I fully believe these next 7
They've-
games are.
They,
fully believe the next 7 games are going to be about getting Ovechkin his
for sure.
points.
They have
Yeah.
almost clinched the division. They will clinch the division and the conference at about the same time, at this rate.
Okay.
Because Carolina is 9 points behind them. They've got 8 games left, so they can get 16 points. So basically, the Washington magic number is like 6.
All right.
If they get 6 more points, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm going to be honest. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
You can go ahead.
Now they may continue to play at a highly competitive level to try to win the President's Trophy, which they are currently 1 point behind on, which is best record in the league, or most
Okay.
points in the league. Winnipeg has them by 1 point right now, but they
I mean,
Washington does have a game in hand on them though. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, I still fully believe like is such a great scorer. Even if they're trying to win games, he's gonna get his goals. Now I won't lie to you. When I heard he needs four goals in games, I was like, oh, I don't know. Now I'm hearing 3 and 7, and all of a sudden, like it's changed my mindset. Where I'm like, he's getting it. Like 4 and 8, I was like, I don't know. 3 and 7, it sounds doable.
Do you remember when he passed? Oh God, who did he pass? Who was the last person he passed? Was it? Oh God, I can't guess on this one. I have to go look it up.
Yeah, that's what Google's for.
Yeah.
I know, and Eric wanted to mention that he's on pretty
Gordie
much the
Howe.
same goal
Okay.
pace. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
As Sidney
thought it was,
as Gretzky, yeah.
yeah. Thought it was Gordie Howe. Didn't want to say it and be wrong. Okay. Do you remember the team he played when he passed Gordie Howe?
No, who was it?
Sully, do you remember?
Nope.
We were
I
Buffalo
don't
Wild
even know
Wings talking about it the next day.
I gotta be honest, man. We've been at Buffalo Wild.
All right. Well, I'll tell you this. The night he passed Gordie Howe, he needed 3 goals. He scored a hat trick that night against the Chicago Blackhawks. Do you want to take a guess at who they play tomorrow night?
I'm gonna guess the Chicago Blackhawks, Alex.
Indeed. I would
that
love
would be
this
wild.
parallel. I would love this parallel. But they've definitely... Ovechkin's going to get the record because he plays the Blue Jackets twice.
Oh. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Elvis is pretty good against one-timers.
He plays the Blackhawks, Islanders, Carolina, and then the Blue Jackets twice in a row.
Do we want to try to go to one of these games?
I'd like to, but here's the thing, we can't.
Are they both in?
No, the first one is on the 12th.
Oh, shit.
Next
can't do
Saturday.
that.
Yeah.
Yep, can't do that.
Yeah.
Nope, can't do that.
Yeah, considering 30 minutes after puck drop, I'm umpiring a baseball game.
Yep, can't do that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tricky for you.
Yeah. 2 hours away, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're going to a baseball game the night before.
Yeah, and we're going to the Royals Guardians game the night before.
Oh man, yeah.
Great seats.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited for him.
I honestly, I want to go place a bet that he gets it tomorrow night.
I would say that's a solid bet. Put like $20 on it.
Yeah, so 20. Yeah, you can ride 20 on it. That's...
Yeah. I'll give you 20 to put on it for me too.
Oh man, that'd be wild. That'd be wild. Anyway,
Andrew, if you
Alex
don't know,
Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer of all time. He will be after 3 more goals. Now his oh my wait, he's only 2 games behind Gretzky too.
Yeah, that's what Eric was saying. It's like the same pace as Gretzky. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
I mean, yeah, like 2 goals. Exactly 2 goals. Or 2 games.
Yeah.
If he gets it tomorrow night, he would beat Gretzky's, not only his record, but also his pace.
Yep.
Damn.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That is. That is.
Yeah, and he does. I mean, he does a lot more than hang out in his office for
He
sure.
does. He's a very physical player. He's
is.
always been. He's not the best defensive player, like defensive position wise. He's very good at laying the body, and fighting for
He's
pucks.
also a winger. Wingers aren't usually the best defensive players, anyway, so that's expected.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
was gonna say, and also everybody knows that he's gonna camp out in his office on the power play, and yet nobody can stop him when he gets there.
And
It's
that's
one
how
of
you
those
know.
things
That's how you know you're good
that
at
the
something.
great ones do. Yeah, well, that's what the great ones do. Is everyone knows what they're gonna do. Everyone, 100,000 people know what's gonna happen, and not a single person can stop it from happening.
That was my favorite thing about watching the Royals last year, especially when they would put Dairon Blanco on as a pinch runner. Everybody in the building, everybody in the city knows what's about to happen on this next pitch, and nobody could stop him from stealing second.
Nope. Or third, really. Like, so fast. Can't hit the ball to save his life, but he's fast.
Yeah, he's not great at hitting, but...
Okay, so I have a question to pose to you guys.
What's up?
Out of all the young stars right now, even the stars who maybe aren't in the NHL yet, do you think any of them has the ability to have the longevity and the scoring ability to even sniff Gretzky or Ovechkin?
Did you say young stars?
Young stars.
Do you still count McDavid as a young star?
He's only like 25, right?
25 or 26.
I would count him as young still, yes.
Then yes. Do I think he'll get it? No. Do I think he can sniff it? Yes.
I think thing is, McDavid, so much of it is just like his speed, his agility, and just his quick hands, and those don't usually have the same shelf life as
absolutely right.
What Ovi does.
Absolutely right.
That's kind of why I was asking. Because I'm looking here at like active goal leaders. It's Ovechkin at 891, Crosby at 619, Stamkos at 578, and then Malkin at 513. Like nobody is even close, and it's like, again, I don't know the game. I know that what we're seeing is very rare from Ovechkin, but I just wanted to know, like, pose that question: are there any young players, whether they're in the league yet, or maybe they're their rights are owned, but maybe they're not on the team yet? Maybe like a Bedard or something. Like, just wanted to see, like, is there anybody that you guys think could be up there?
McDavid definitely
I could
could.
see McDavid. Looking at scoring pace, McDavid is not there. Like if McDavid scored at the exact same pace for the rest of his career, he would come up about 200 goals short.
That would make sense. So with Matthews, maybe if things broke right from Matthews, he might get into the goal race.
Where's McKinnon sit? Is McKinnon on your list? See, McKinnon though is more of a points guy. He's not a goals guy necessarily.
All right, so let's see: Malkin, Tavares, Patrick Kane, Perry, Kopitar, Marchand,
Draisaitl.
Yeah,
I can see Draisaitl because he plays with McDavid. But
I mean,
both of them.
Matthews is 397, so I mean he's only 500 away.
Yeah, and how many games played is that?
622.
At that pace.
I mean, honestly, he is the lowest number of games played in the top 25, and he's at 12.
Yeah.
So like at that pace, he's right there.
Yeah, for sure. I could see, like you said, If things go well for Matthews, yes. I think he could sniff it. Again, I don't know if he gets it, because I mean, it depends on how much longer Ovi plays, you know? Like, does
Yeah.
he, if he's still feeling good after this year, does he push for 1,000?
I mean, what else is Ovi gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
And also, does he try to go for the record of goals including playoffs? Because if you include playoffs, he's at 964 goals. Um, Gretzky's
Yeah,
at
you might like
1,016.
1,000. Yeah, you might. Yeah, you might at least cross the 1,000, even if you don't get to Gretzky's.
Yeah,
Hold on. Did you say Gretzky is at 1,060?
16.
16.
Okay, that's still. So you're telling me just in the playoffs he's had like 150 goals just in playoffs?
122.
Okay, close enough for government work.
Yeah.
That's and he only played 20 years. Now let's say I'm gonna go. They probably made the playoffs 15 of those 20 years.
So he did play in 208 playoff games. That'll happen when you are a dynasty that wins the Stanley Cup every year. For a few
Yeah,
years.
those Edmonton teams were
Yeah,
just a
those
machine.
89 through mid 90s Edmonton teams. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, still though, what average is that? That's a pretty good average of points per game, especially in playoffs, right? Like that's just clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit
mean,
more than half a goal per game.
That's
that's just silly. That is.
I mean,
just
that's about
in
that's about
playoff.
the rate that
In playoff.
Ovi's at. I mean, they're at the same rate even in the playoffs. Ovi has 72 playoff goals and 151 games played.
I mean, still, like he's clutch too. Like they're both just
yeah.
such clutch scoring players. Like when the team needs it, they show up. Or when they need it, they show up. As we saw with Ovechkin. But yeah, I mean, nothing short of incredible at his age. Like, granted, I haven't watched much. Like, just to be able to sit there and like one time it and all the freaking time, like,
Yeah.
he
And
has
again,
to be the best
everybody knows that's
one-timer in
what
the
you're
world.
gonna do.
They had like one or two guys in front of him, and he still shot it, and it's just like,
Yeah.
this is incredible.
Yeah. All right, let's move on away from Ovechkin. Again, 3 goals to go. I think he easily gets it this year. The question at this point is how far does he take the record? You know. Let's move on into playoff races. So we've kind of touched on it a little bit already with like Washington almost clinching the conference at this point.
Yeah.
But over on the other side of things, Winnipeg and Dallas are in a battle for the Central Division. Winnipeg is up 4 points with 1 game. With Dallas has 1 game in hand. So if Dallas wins, they would be at 2 points behind. I wonder if they play each other.
And Dallas is on a streak right now. They've won 6 in a row.
April 10th, mark your calendars. Winnipeg, Dallas. Most likely winner of this one takes the Central. If I had to take a wild guess.
Can I say something?
What you got?
The Blues here have a 10-gamer?
They sure fucking do, bud.
Yeah.
They sure do.
They're tied with the Wild right now. Like, they're making the playoffs, right?
Very reminiscent of 2019. They were the worst team in the league coming into. They may not have been like the actual last place team in the league this year, like they were in 2019. But I mean, what happened in 2019? You get Jordan Binnington, gets called up. He goes on a fucking heater. The Blues win 11 straight, which is the franchise record. Get into the playoffs as wild card 1, or they were wild card 1 or 2. and they played the Winnipeg Jets in the first round. Which, if the season ended today,
Same thing
all
would
of
happen.
those same things would be the case.
I mean, it's all
Down
about
to the
getting hot at
playoff
the right
matchup.
time.
Yeah, for
It's all
sure.
about getting hot at the right time. If they can carry this in, I mean, once you make the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yep.
Oh,
So
for sure, yeah.
just to really fully do the parallels here, if the playoffs were to start today, the St. Louis Blues would go to Winnipeg for the first round. Should they win that, and Dallas were to win, who is the team they played in the second round that year, they would play against Dallas. And then, should they go on from there, they have a chance to play a team from California in the Los Angeles Kings rather than the San Jose Sharks. So, I mean, if we really want to go full parallels, it's real weird.
I mean,
it's
if we
not
really
going to be
want
the Sharks.
What was that,
to,
Andrew?
if we,
I said it's not going to be the Sharks this time.
No.
God, God,
No.
I got a friend that's a Sharks fan. It's
It's a
they're
rough
worse
life for
than
them.
the Blackhawks.
they're supposed to be though. It's a clear,
Yeah.
burn it down, see what grows from the ashes type deal.
For
Blackhawks,
both of them.
Well, I mean, the Blackhawks sure would love to have a running mate for Connor Bedard. Somebody like this Brandon Hagel kid in Tampa Bay. He's been playing real well.
Yeah.
Doing a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Things I want to talk about. The Colorado Avalanche can clinch a playoff spot tonight with a win. And they just tied the game back up. The Jackets had taken a 3-2 lead. The Avalanche are back tied at 3.
Come on, Jackets.
It'd be real cool if the Jackets could pull this off. I would love to see the Jackets in the playoffs. Hey, if they make it, are we gonna try to go?
Yeah.
We'll at least try.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll see
I
how
would
bad it's
love
going
to
to
be
hurt the
in that
pocket.
building for that. But yeah, it would definitely hurt the wallet. But
I mean, I still want to go to. We should. Well,
we should go to a Monsters game when they go to the
we,
playoffs.
def- we should definitely go to a Monsters game. Monsters games are fun. I want to go to playoff baseball. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I.
those tickets are more expensive though.
They're so expensive. They're so expensive, and it's a little bit cold. But that atmosphere is so.
Yeah.
If we ever play the Royals in the playoffs and they come to Cleveland,
We talked about it last year. We were like, man, if it happens, maybe we try.
I don't care. I don't care the price. I don't care how cold it is. I will go sit in the tippy top of the bleachers and
Yeah.
we'll freeze our ass off for $50 a seat. I don't care.
Oh, they'll be more than 50, bud.
Let me dream.
And the other team that could clinch a playoff spot tonight is the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are... Hang on, let me get to my scoreboard here. Down 2-1, with 15 to go in the third, and Ottawa is on the power play.
Yep.
But I don't think they need to worry. I think they've got the playoffs. It is, however, looking like another Battle of Florida in the first round, which has got to be tiring for them.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun for the rest of us, though.
Oh yeah. And then they play again in the Stadium Series, because
Alright.
what says outdoor hockey like Florida?
Yeah, it's crazy that Florida is a powerhouse in hockey. It is just...
And they're getting an outdoor game. That's what's crazy to me. How do you do that?
A lot of freezers.
That ice is gonna be terrible.
That's gonna be so fucking bad, dude.
It's gonna
I would
be
not know.
so slushy. Do you remember the game at Lake Tahoe a couple years ago where they had to like fully stop the game and be like, "Hey guys, come back in 3 or 4 hours and we'll try this again." Like,
Yeah, I remember that when it was just like, no, we can't. No, nobody
they
can.
stopped it in the middle of the second period, in the middle of either the first or the second period, and they said, "Hey guys, come back later." And they played
Wait.
like the last 7 minutes of the period, and then did intermission, and then finished the game after that. Like,
So do they just go, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do period 1 at like 9 a.m. Period 2 we're gonna do at noon, and period 3 we're gonna do at 3. Do they
Oh, they're
just
not
break
gonna.
it up?
No, no, they wouldn't do it at noon and 3. They'd say, all right, period 1 is at 5 a.m. Period 2 and 3 will pick up at 9 p.m.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
it is, we're gonna stop when the sun comes up, because at that point it's already too late
Yeah. I mean,
in Florida.
are they doing it in March again? Is it always in
Probably.
March or
The Stadium Series is usually around this time of year, yeah. They
okay?
usually do the outdoor games about the same times of year. So like the Winter Classic is always on Christmas or New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And then they do the Stadium Series games, and then they'll do. There's another. What's the other outdoor? Is it just the Stadium Series? I don't know. But yeah, it'll be around this time of year. So like,
See, that doesn't make sense. Like, why
yeah,
don't you
if
do
they
it
were
in
doing
like
it in January or February, I could
yeah,
see it more.
yeah.
But also maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they don't do it in March every year. Maybe they just waited till March this year because they had to wait for Ohio State to get out of the building.
I mean, fair. Also, it's Ohio. They could have done it in fucking May, and we probably would have
Yeah,
been fine.
yeah.
Just
Um,
if you get the right weekend.
yeah, for sure. Um, moving on from there, those are the clinching scenarios for tonight's games. Little notes from the last week I want to talk about. Going to Columbus, Kirill Marchenko had a hat trick 2 nights ago, I think it was now,
Yes.
and became the first 30-goal scorer for the Columbus Blue Jackets since the 2018-2019 season when Cam Atkinson did it. And then that's awesome. They beat up on Nashville. What was it, 8-4 final? 8-3?
It
Yeah.
was a lot.
And then Monahan and Fantilli also both had 2 goals, and uh, I know Evison sat him for the last while because no need to run up the score. But
Yeah.
um, and then I just want to give a little quick shout out to my St. Louis Blues and Jimmy Snuggerud.
Yeah.
Who...
Before we move on, mention the Nico Mikkola kerfuffle at the end of the Panthers Canadians game. Did y'all catch that?
I saw some. Oh, the shooting the puck thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
slap. Yeah,
All right. So one of the big unwritten rules of hockey, Sully, is don't shoot the puck when the play isn't happening. Like if after the whistle, if you shoot the puck, you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get punched. Like
Fair.
and he took like a big clapper after the whistle, right? Like after
yeah,
the
and it
game,
was
after the
yeah
final, like
4-2
the
in
final
the loss of
siren.
Canadians. Yeah, yeah, like everybody had cleared out to go hug the goalie, and because they'd won, it was over. And when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, it's like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, young guy up there gets lost in the heat of the... No, Nico's over 30. He's been doing this for a while. Absolutely knows better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just...
But he's had a couple like mental mistakes over the years, like and like
kind of being a twat as well. He's kind of
yeah. Now I liked it when he was on the Blues, but
is he kind of like a shit stirrer in a way?
not really. I wouldn't call him not like a Brad Marchand or a Matthew Tkachuk level,
Yeah.
but definitely yeah, he's a little bit. He's a little bit of a pest, but he's had these like his wires get crossed and he'll do something stupid. Whether it's, make an unnecessary hit. I think he's had I don't remember exactly, but I think he's been like suspended once or twice. I could be wrong about that. That's purely just me trying to remember from his time on the Blues.
It's no comments that were wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah. But like yeah, I mean, he's made some mental errors where he has done something that he absolutely should not have done. Um he had like a really dirty hit a year or two ago as well. Like he just
Yeah.
he does these things where he shouldn't, and like this, you don't you don't take a shot at a goalie who's not ready for it.
It just seems very
That's
unsafe and very
hmm
bad.
hmm
Like,
Now it's a little bit different in a game setting because you don't want the goalie to be ready for it. But
right?
I mean, you said it was a 4-2 game. Like
Yeah,
it
4-2, yeah.
does not matter if the shot goes in. You've still lost
No,
the game.
Yeah.
There's
I mean that's like
zero reason to shoot that puck. If you're pissed off, dump it into the corner.
yeah,
There is no reason to try to take a goalie's head off. Like,
yeah. That's it's similar, but also not similar because it's way worse. But it's like dunking at the end of a game, at the end of a basketball game, like when the score's out of reach, whether you're the team that has the lead or not. Like typically, those like last 5 seconds, you usually just let the score go down, and someone will go and dunk the basketball. It was actually Cleveland just had somebody do it. Tristan Thompson, who is a veteran, 13-year veteran. There was like 2 seconds left. We're up by 20. Like game is over, and he just goes and dunks the ball, and like everybody, like he was all high and mighty about it, and like the other team was looking at him. Our team was looking at him like,
dude, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, yeah. So like, but this is obviously way worse of a situation where it's like
yeah,
you could actually hurt
you could hurt somebody. Yeah.
or kill even.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. I don't
For
understand that. Yeah, that
Now
because like
there was some sort of a retaliation like the next game, wasn't there? Like, or not like a retaliation, but like the team they played the next night. Like, I saw something on Reddit. I didn't watch it, but it was like so and so very subtly like does, and like I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think somebody like the next game
Let
retaliated a
him
little
know.
bit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean I don't blame him. Do it. Fuck that guy.
No, like he like shot at he did what Mikola did,
Oh,
but the next game against Mikola. So I don't know. I don't remember who it was. I saw again. I saw the post on Reddit, but I'm not gonna go digging for it right now. So
fair enough. Fair enough.
little update on the Blues. They were down 2-1, and now they are up 3-2.
Well,
Let's go
there you
Blues.
go.
Like over the last 4 minutes.
Any update on the
Buchnevich,
Blue Jackets?
huh?
Any update on the Blue Jackets?
They are down 4-3.
Fuck.
It's only the second period though.
Good time, yeah.
Yeah, but it's 4-3. That means Elvis is probably not in the building.
Not the
Which
Elvis
means
you
it's
want
probably
to
gonna...
be in the building. Um. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to shout out Snugrud. And then we did the Mikola. We talked about the Hurricanes a little bit already.
Mhm.
Any other hockey topics we want to cover before we round it out with some more baseball?
I think I'm good on that. I mean, really excited for the playoffs to start coming. I actually started watching a little bit more hockey, like actually watching it on
Yeah,
TV, which Alex will tell you is kind of big for me because
it
I'm
is.
more of an in-person person for hockey. But we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, playoffs. I'm getting really excited for it. It's actually really nice to watch the Blue Jackets actually watch good hockey. But I'm getting really excited for the playoffs here, and hopefully it's going to be good. There's a lot of storylines going on like right now in the league, and then going into the playoffs. So it's really cool for like somebody who like me who doesn't know a whole lot about it. There's still storylines for me to kind of follow along with, make it interesting to watch a lot of these games.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that reminded me. We wanted to talk about what's your biggest thing that you have liked or not liked from this season. And I think that kind of covers it for you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think
yeah,
my
yeah.
biggest thing, personally, is seeing how well the Blue Jackets are doing after everything with Johnny Gaudreau. We talked about this already a couple weeks ago. I don't want to touch about it all the time because everybody knows. But I love the story that the Blue Jackets have done this year. Um, and I think they are way ahead of schedule. I think the Blues are ahead of schedule. I did not think they would be pushing for a playoff spot 3 months ago. Um, but I'm super happy that both of them are sitting in a playoff spot. It'd be real cool if they played each other in playoffs, because that would mean
Especially here in
Stanley Cup
Columbus.
final.
Yeah, that would be the final. That would be pretty crazy.
That would be insane.
Yeah. Andrew, what about you?
Well, one of mine isn't nearly as uplifting as that, but is still, I've really enjoyed it, and that's Stefan Nason getting his first 20-goal season with the New Jersey Devils. He's a guy that several years ago came into the Canes on veterans minimum. We called him up from our AHL team, and he played really well for us up and down the lineup. Gave us bottom six scoring. Ideally, most contenders wouldn't have him playing on the power play so often, but it's not his fault. He was one of our better power play options
Yeah.
for that run. And like, this is a guy that was a bust, almost washed out of hockey altogether. So to see him then turn around and reach that milestone this year is really cool.
That is awesome.
Okay, so quick question here. Sorry to hold us up. 20 goals in a season, is that like 1,000 yards receiving or rushing for a running back? Like how would that, or is that like 20 home runs for a season for a guy?
I'd put it closer to the 20 home runs.
Closer to 20 home runs.
I think the 30 goal mark is kind of that 1,000 yards mark. Is where I would say 30 or 40. Right. I think probably. I mean, how many guys hit 1,000 yards in a season?
Rushing or receiving, it's
receiving
usually
a lot, and then
yeah,
rushing not nearly as many.
Then
it depends on the year if they're
yeah, of course, and their team and all that, but like I would say maybe the 25 mark would be 1,000 yards receiving.
Okay.
If I had to compare, they're very different because they're both very situational.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'd put it at like the 25 mark. I think I would say, because it's not like not everybody gets it, but the guys who are good at it get it every year. Like.
Okay. Yeah. I was just asking, because you mentioned Marchenko 30 goals. It was the first time for the. I know the Jackets are bad, so I'm trying to understand. Like, okay, we got 30. First guy with 30.
Maybe I would put it at 30. I think I would put 1,000 yards at 30.
Okay.
Because again, it's like the guys
yeah.
The guys that are good are gonna do it all the time. I mean, what's our regular season goals right now? So there's at 30 plus goals, there's 32 guys with 30 goals.
Okay, so maybe it's like 1,200 yards rushing.
Yeah. So at 25, we've got 66 guys.
Yeah, no, that's definitely more than 1,000 yards receiving. Because typically only one receiver will have 1,000 yards on a team, and it's not every team. It's usually around like 20 guys that might have a chance at it. Rushing, it depends on the year. If it's a big rushing year, a lot of teams are rushing. You'll usually have like 15. I think this past year there was 10 of them. Of course, it was like Derrick Henry. Who was the other one? It was Derrick Henry.
Saquon was the one that,
Yeah, Derrick Henry and Saquon were like both at like 1,500 yards. Or no, Saquon was up at like 2,000 almost.
Yeah, Saquon was. Yeah, I think he got to 2,000, and then we can. Yeah, he had a really good year. We won't get into the whole rushing record debate. That's its own thing.
Yeah. Own thing. Yeah. Yep. All right. That's okay. That's all I had for hockey. I just wanted to ask that question to kind of be able to gauge how impressive that is.
It's very impressive, especially like you said, the Blue Jackets haven't been very good the last few years, but this is the first time in 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years that a Blue Jacket has done it. That's pretty awesome. Um, yeah, and the whole like that debate, it depends year to year. Some years scoring's up, some years scoring's down as well, just like
Alright.
in football.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
With that, let's round this out with some baseball. And I just have a really funny topic to talk about.
I
Has
saw it.
anybody looked
saw
at
it.
the AL Central standings?
I
Because
saw
it
it.
is, well, earlier
It's
today
very-
it was a 5-way tie for first and last place, at 2 and 4. Since then,
Yep.
the Twins have lost today, so
Yeah,
it
fuck
is
the
now
Twins.
only a
Anyways.
4-way tie for first place, and then the Twins in the basement. Uh,
That's where it should be. The Twins can go die in a hole.
I have a soft spot for the Twins because of family, but
I don't. They
I
can
know,
go die
I
in a
know.
hole. I have a soft
Um,
spot for the Royals now because of you.
You're welcome.
I'm not happy about
Just in
that.
time. Just in time.
That's like me having a soft spot for the Bengals, the Ravens, or the Steelers. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, but in baseball, like, yeah, divisions are a thing and all that. It doesn't feel like it does in football. But maybe it's because it's not a contact sport.
Maybe.
Well,
I mean,
except when you're playing the White Sox.
man.
Except when Jose is playing against Tim Anderson.
Go Anderson.
Or back in Mo Vaughn's day, man, when you tried to charge the man against. Oh, that clip is beautiful.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So going back to the rivalry, the Guardians Royals rivalry has really kicked it up a notch. Last year, it kicked it up a notch.
I haven't felt that way, but maybe it's just because I live in the Cleveland area, but I'm from Kansas. Like, I haven't really noticed the rivalry the way that, like, I used to hate, like, Detroit.
I tell you what, the rivalry with Detroit is kind of hot right now, especially after the playoffs. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
this could get very interesting throughout this year. I like that we play every team. I really kind of dislike that we don't play the teams in our division as much because it really
Yeah.
kind of takes away
Yeah.
a little bit. But like, I get it.
I agree with you, but only because they started doing that the year that I moved out here, and therefore the Royals don't come out here as much.
Yeah, no, sucks. We're game fucking April.
Yeah.
In Ohio,
Yeah.
on the lake.
Yeah. You want to hear the crazy scheduling that the MLB did this year for the Royals and the Guardians? We played each other opening day. A 3-game series opening day. A week and a half later, they come to Cleveland for a 3-game series. We don't play each other again, at least not here. Maybe they go to Kansas City once, until July.
Middle of the week.
And it's the middle of the week.
That's a choice. That's definitely.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that is a choice.
So last year we went to we skipped we called off of work PTO. We didn't like call off that day. We went to a doubleheader on a Monday because they had a series that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And they had a rain out, so they rescheduled the game for the doubleheader. And it was like April when the rain out happened, and we looked at each other. We're like,
We're going to the
September.
doubleheader. Yeah.
We're going to that doubleheader, right? We're not going to work that day.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun that day. I know you didn't have as much fun as I did, but
I still had fun. It was
we
terrifying
got to
as
see a
hell
grand
when somebody
slam.
We did. It was terrifying as hell when somebody left their keys in the fucking seats and we got out of the
Look,
park.
we don't need to talk about that here. And I didn't leave them; they fell out of my pocket. It's not like I purposefully set them down and said I'll pick these up later and then walked away without them. No, they fell out of my pocket.
We thought it was my glasses.
We didn't know what we heard fall. We heard something fall. We didn't know what it was. 6 innings went by, and then we left. And then I was like, hey, I don't have my keys.
Of course, this is when we got to the car.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyway,
Okay.
we got to talk about this real quick. Just another thing to add on before we get to our last topic. Aaron Judge has earlier tonight, hit his 500th extra base hit
That's impressive.
in 999 games.
That's the quickest there, isn't it?
Nope. Behind only Joe DiMaggio, who did it in 8:53, and Lou Gehrig, who did it in 8:74.
Both incredible batters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aaron Judge is 101, man. Like, I can sit here and say, like, we saw the hit graphic that you showed me with him against Bobby Witt. I think Bobby Witt's a great hitter too, but Aaron Judge, like, he's just an incredible hitter.
Absolutely.
300 with 60 home runs, like, it's just incredible.
And I was never arguing that he was not a better hitter.
I could see the argument
better power
for it.
hitter.
Yeah, no, better power hitter. He's definitely the better power hitter.
I just wanted to touch on that because it's sitting here. He's just staring at me on the front page of the MLB.com.
You see that big old face?
Yeah. And then we're at like an hour and a half already, so let's.
Damn, sorry,
hour
guys.
13. Let's round this out. Let's finish this out. Big early season starts. The Dodgers are the first reigning World Series champions to start a season 8-0. The Padres are 7-0, right?
Yep. 7-0.
And
Dodgers
the
and Padres do it in different ways, but
Atlanta
yes.
Braves are 0-7.
That's right. Yeah, one of my best friends is a Braves and Orioles fan, and so I texted him earlier today. Is like, what is happening? And so I'll read his responses real quick. Yeah, dude, I'm pretty shocked, and all the Druxen Profar shit has him fumed. But I just keep telling myself it's better to start bad than end bad. And of course, his first response is, "They're fucking terrible, lol."
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. That is something we should talk about, that Jerks and Profar stuff as well. Like,
yeah.
I know the Royals were really hoping to land him, and I'm really happy we didn't right now.
Listen, man, I would, like, I knew the Guardians weren't going to get him.
I knew we weren't going to get him. Royals fans were really hoping we would.
Yeah. As a Guardians fan, I've given up hope that we're going to spend money. We signed Shane Bieber to a deal. I thought he was as good as gone. That was my Christmas. We just signed Tanner Bybee to an extension. That's my fucking, 3 Christmases now.
Yeah.
But what he can do for a team is amazing. Now, from what I've seen, I haven't looked into it too much. It's very similar to what Manny Ramirez got suspended for in a while ago. And I don't want to comment too much on it because that's about all I know. I've heard some rumblings about things, but I'm not sure I'm guaranteed. So I don't want to speak on it too much about how this could have happened or anything like that. I don't want to speak too much. I might have more next week, but I heard some rumblings on that. Yeah.
Is it one of those things where like he was taking something that had something in it that got caught on the test? Is that what it's seeming like from what you're hearing?
Yeah. So again, I haven't read up on it. Just recently happened, and I've had a lot going on. But from the little bit I've seen, I get the feeling that's kind of where it's headed. But again, it's really early. Not a whole has fully come out about that, and you all. It seems like that's kind of the way it's going. Because I think that's similar to what happened with Manny. But again, I'm not too sure about that because I wasn't a huge baseball fan when it happened with Manny.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I just really wanted to touch on like those teams having a great start and the one not so much.
Can I say quickly?
Absolutely.
Shohei Ohtani hit a walk-off bomb on the first pitch last night.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is a stud.
Yeah. You're talking about Judge being 101?
Oh, yeah, no. Ohtani is really 101. I'm going to go back to something here. Juan Soto's deal. for however $700 million. That isn't the overpay of the century.
Oh yeah.
Like that is the Mets doing the Bobby Bonilla thing where they're going to be paying him in 2070.
Yeah.
Like that is the Mets overpaying, saying we need to beat the fucking Yankees at something because it's not going to be baseball.
Yeah.
I will say if there's ever a New York Mets, New York Yankees World Series, New York might just burn to the fucking ground, one way or the other.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, seeing him do what he's doing, I hate the Dodgers. They're every MLB fans wet dream of, like, here, throw money at the fucking player and just get the best fucking rotation. They have one of the best pitchers in the world, and he's not going to pitch because he has no need to pitch.
Yeah.
They have 7 starting pitchers who would be aces on any other team.
Uh-huh.
Not even counting Shohei Ohtani, and they're like, we might not even need him to pitch. And it's like, this is why I say, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, the MLB hasn't had a World Series back-to-back since like the 80s. And I'm like, great, grand. Who the hell cares? It's the same 10 teams every year.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes you get a team like the Royals or the Cubs that sneak in and take it and then fade back into obscurity for a while.
Yeah, it's like there's a legitimate thing here where like every year the Guardians can make the playoffs. Every year I'm sitting there like, we ain't doing it. I had a little bit of hope last year, and then that got very quickly dashed away by the our pitchers saying, hey, we can throw fastballs past Stan Juan and Aaron Judge. And guess what? You can't. They feast on fastballs.
Yeah, for sure. Now I will say, you weren't beating the Dodgers.
No. God,
we weren't beating the Dodgers. Detroit wasn't beating the Dodgers. The Orioles weren't beating the Dodgers. And God knows the Yankees didn't beat the Dodgers.
No. I wanted to just make a World Series again, man. I don't care if we lost in 4. I wanted to make a World Series again. I also thought it was like Shane Bieber's like end. Like I want them to make the World Series just to make Shane Bieber go, hey, if I'm on this team next year, we could really win it. Because he's still signed with us. Yeah. He's ahead of schedule, by the way. Little tidbit, he's ahead of schedule. We could see him before June, and I am super excited because a rotation with Shane Bieber, Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, who looks like the Gavin Williams from 2 years ago, which is a scary thought. Luis Ortiz has a lot of good stuff, but man, his control is rough. John Means, who was a stud left-handed pitcher for Baltimore, we signed him. He's coming off Tommy John. Like, come June, July, the Guardians rotation could get back to Guardians rotation, and if our offense puts up 4 to 5 points a game, the Guardians could really get on a heater in the last 2-3 months of the year.
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to the rest of this baseball season. We're only a week into it. I'm super excited about it. I am happy to, as a Royals fan, have meaningful baseball once again, for the first time in 10 years. Actually, exactly 10 years. 10 years ago is when we won the World Series.
In fairness, every team has meaningful baseball for the first 2 months of the season.
I disagree.
Because they all have hope at that point.
I disagree.
Except for maybe the Marlins.
No, I don't think. There are some teams that going into the season. I don't know. Last year, even with the Royals last year, I was like, I don't know about this year, guys. Maybe I think the Royals are ahead of schedule. I was like, because last year I was like, maybe, but probably not. I was like, maybe we're not the worst team in the division this year. I was like, we don't lose 100 games this year. I definitely wasn't saying week 1, we got a shot at the playoffs this year.
No, but you had a little bit of hope of something could happen.
I had hope of growth.
Yeah.
Which we got. We got a lot of growth. And again, we're ahead of schedule. So
I was looking at the Athletics real fast, and I wanted to bring up something really kind of neat. Athletics are playing at a AAA ballpark this year.
Yep, they had their home opener at Sacramento.
They're 0-3 at home.
Yeah.
Granted, it's only 3 games, but they haven't won a freaking game at home.
Well, that's not different than last year.
Yeah, that's what they get for leaving Oakland. Yeah.
Sell the
I don't
team.
Listen, I don't agree with them leaving Oakland, but that Coliseum was rough.
Oh, for sure.
It was iconic. It needed so many updates, and Oakland was not willing to pay for any of them.
Well,
Them
they're
going,
paying for billionaires' playgrounds anyways, honestly. They've got the dough to build them. It's pretty gross that they use taxpayers' money to do it, in all honesty.
and you're wearing a Browns jersey as you're talking about that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually reminds me. My wife
Well,
texted me earlier.
Jimmy was a scumbag. I'm pretty sure that's public knowledge.
My wife texted me earlier and said, "Why are we taking money away from schools to pay for the Browns' new stadium?" And I said,
Great
because
question.
who needs education when you have a shitty football team?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
The
that's-
shitty football team gives everybody hope for about half a season.
Yeah, that's more hope than I thought you guys were getting out of them, so that's actually pretty efficient of y'all.
The last 4 years, it's been half a season because the 1 year we actually pretty good. Then we were at halfway through the season. You're we can still turn around. Then we were really good with with 5 different quarterbacks. And then this year again, we were just so ass, but we're we can turn it around. We're halfway through the season. We can turn it around, and then you just kind of realize that yeah, 3 now, 7.
I got
no
none
matter
of
how
that.
good it is.
Yeah.
Oh, did it all come out?
Yeah, like half of that cut out. It's fine. Sorry,
It
but
wasn't anything important.
all right.
It was just me
Let's.
rambling.
Anything else? Any other topics we want to touch on before we get out of here?
You were talking parallels earlier.
Yeah, I was.
I'll give you a parallel.
Okay.
Ben Roethlisberger came out on his podcast and said that he thinks Aaron Rodgers is not signing with the Steelers because he is waiting for the Minnesota. Now that would finish the parallel that Brett Favre started when Brett Favre played Green Bay, then the Jets, and then the Vikings.
Yeah.
And if you look at the time in Green Bay, the time that they had in Green Bay is very similar to between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. And you mentioned parallels earlier, and I just wanted to mention that parallel. It's possible. I don't see the Vikings signing him. I don't. I don't think the Vikings are there yet, that they're oh, we have one shot at this. I think they're to a point where they can go, hey, we have a rookie quarterback coming off of an injury. Let's let him get a year. We have everybody under contract. We'll go another year. They made a lot of good moves that I liked, but I still think they're a year away unless JJ McCarthy balls out.
Exactly.
And can clutch up, which JJ McCarthy could. But I heard that, and you were talking. I heard that earlier today. You were talking parallels, and I just wanted to throw that out there. There's a possibility that could be a parallel.
For sure. I don't think it happens. I don't think the Vikings want to sign him. I think they would have already if they wanted to. I don't. My feelings on Aaron Rodgers are, I think, known already even on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it the first episode.
And last week, yeah.
Did we talk about it last week? I don't like him. I think he's going to be a locker room cancer wherever he goes. I think he's a drama queen and wants all of the attention on him. And I don't think that's good to invite into a team where you have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So-
I think it's hard to be. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say it's hard to be. We've all been around people in our lives that desperately want you to think that they're smart.
Yeah.
And just how obnoxious that person is to be around.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
Yeah.
That and Hollywood already does so many terrible sequels. We don't need our pro sports teams doing it too with the Rodgers rebooting the Favre Trek.
Yeah.
Though I guess then defrauding a state would be the next move after that. So
Yeah. And then suing the Pat McAfee show, which Aaron Rodgers has been on multiple times, and I'm sure he could sue them technically for something.
Yeah, he could. I mean, they've been paying him every Yeah, so he could get him some suit for breach of contract or something. Or
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm a little shocked, like hearing that the Browns were after Russell Wilson kind of heavy. I'm surprised they haven't kicked the tires on Aaron Rodgers at all. So that tells me either the money is too high for them, or they don't want to bring him in for whatever rookie quarterback they're going to bring in. I also still
Now,
believe.
do we know that they haven't?
I've seen no reports of it.
Yeah,
I've seen
but
no reports.
that doesn't
There's a
mean
chance they
anything. It
reached
could
out.
just be it's been kept pretty quiet. I mean, yes,
So he went
that is
in.
a hard thing to do in this day and age, but it is entirely possible that they called Rodgers' agent and said, "Yo, what are you looking for?" And they said this much, and the Browns are like, "Eh."
no.
Like I said, that's possible. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's one of two possibilities. It's either that they called and were like, okay, or that's like they have a plan at quarterback, whether it's Kirk Cousins or whether it be some rookie that they're going to draft, where they're like, okay, we want Aaron Rodgers to be in front of this guy, where Aaron Rodgers will not like to be a mentor, or again, Aaron Rodgers has that stigmatism about him that he doesn't want to be a mentor. I don't think that's the case. I think at the time it was probably the case, but I think now he would probably be. I think he. Oh, first and foremost, if he goes to a team, he'd want to start. But I don't think he would be against mentoring a younger player. But at the same time, you don't know. Aaron Rodgers is again one of one, especially in a mental capacity. Nobody can really dictate what he's thinking. But
Yeah, he's pretty mental.
um,
You're right.
Yeah, that's. You're a rookie quarterback, man. Could you imagine? You're already getting thrown into the NFL, and then your quarterback room would be Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers. Like,
and Kenny Pickett. Don't forget Kenny Pickett.
yeah, yeah.
Kenny Pickett is the most forgettable person, though.
Like at that point, like I'm going back to college. Give me that NIL money. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm still stuck on Miles Garrett came back for a reason. It wasn't just the dollar signs. He could have gotten that money anywhere. Like
Absolutely.
I, and like Miles Garrett is one of the people that like I believe him when he says that he did not believe that we had a plan, and then he. So I don't know if you heard the whole situation, Andrew. He requested a
Yeah.
meeting with our owner. Our owner basically told him, "Hey, no," and it got reported that like the owner was like, "No, I'm not meeting with you." The owner actually told him, "Hey, meet with the general manager. He runs the team. He's handling this, not
Yeah.
me." And then it was like, what, like 3 days after the report came out that he said no, Miles Garrett signed his deal. So
Yeah.
in my opinion, I really believe that Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski talked to Miles Garrett and were like, "Here's our plan." And Miles Garrett bought in, like, "Okay, we could win a Super Bowl," which means we have to get a quarterback. Which means I don't know where they're getting it from. I don't know what their plan is. I have no idea.
I don't either, but it doesn't have to be an immediate one either, because I think Stefanski is a good coach, and Barry's done a pretty good job as GM. And for any team, it's hard to find guys to nail those spots down. So just let it ride with them, because you're not going to do better. And in fact, you've got decades of proof that you have absolutely not done better. So let those guys have all the runway they need, because that's how teams end up winning. The Chiefs gave Andy Reid all the runway that he needed. And that's just one example. Yeah, it's
Yeah, again, Haslam coming out and saying that like it was a top-down organizational swing and a miss,
Yeah.
and like it started with him and D. I think that was huge for him saying, "Hey, we're kind of restarting. Kevin and Andrew have earned our trust. We've handcuffed them with this fucking deal, and if they can get us some improvement in the next year or two, and really get us turned around, because like last year was such a terrible, terrible year, but." We fired like we went 11 and something. We had like the 13th best offense with 5 different quarterbacks who were no names, and then
exactly.
we fired our entire offensive staff to fit the offense to fit Deshaun Watson and nobody else.
Yeah, and it derailed everything. And
And I think that was 100% the Haslams again looking at Stefanski and saying, "Hey, we want you to fully buy in on Deshaun Watson. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, you will we'll put it in a contract. Sure, you do your whole staff because once again we fired the whole of staff and we redid it to now fit Stefanski. So I feel like there's still like 2 years left for Stefanski where they're like, hey, we're gonna let you work it and see what you guys can do without us stepping in the middle of it because
Yeah,
we
and-
just
Yeah.
And yeah, y'all let him go. He get another job like that, man. It's
Oh yeah.
the only way that we would have ever I would have that don't if us letting it the only way that I would have been okay with us letting him go is if we let him go and hired Mike Vrabel to be the head coach. That would be the only way because Mike Vrabel was in our building all year last year. Like we had a head coach candidate to take our spot or to take his spot if we wanted, and they stuck with Stefanski, which I think says a lot about where they are, like where their minds are, not just next year, but like the next couple years. Because Mike Vrabel is a big get. Like I think he's a tremendous head coach, but I think Stefanski is too. So like the fact that we didn't fire Stefanski and go right to Vrabel, I think says a lot about their plans.
All right.
oh, agreed. I think it's
Well, I'm
not
going
all
to
doom and
I'm going to cut us off here before we keep going. Because
Yeah.
now we are at an hour and a half. So I do appreciate.
Sorry, everybody.
No. That's all right. That's all right. I thank you everybody for hanging out with us and listening and watching today. This has been Two for Cross Checking. I'm Alex alongside Andrew and Sully. I meant to ask before, do you guys got any like social media stuff you want to put up or no? We can
Not
save that.
yet.
All right.
Yeah, not yet.
We'll get there.
I
Anyway,
also
Yeah,
don't
we
know the
can do
handle.
that. Yeah.
all right. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.